I am so excited that you clicked this link so you can finally find the solutions that you have been looking for. My name is Matt Michaels, and I'm here to share with you the groundbreaking 16-week system that is helping people to permanently reverse their chronic disease symptoms through nutrition and the art of detoxification. And this is all being done without toxic drugs or invasive surgeries that frankly just don't work in the long run anyways. Instead, my goal is to empower you to become your own healer so that you're no longer dependent upon drugs, doctors, or the medical institutions, but instead you can take the active steps to heal yourself. But first, I have a question for you. Do you feel like a prisoner in your own body? Do you feel like you're constantly being held back by chronic disease symptoms that are keeping you from being able to go after and accomplish the things that you want to do in life? And this can be any kind of symptoms such as chronic pain, fatigue, or brain fog. Maybe it's those last few pounds you can't seem to get rid of, or an autoimmune condition with chronic gut issues such as constipation, diarrhea, gas, bloating, or cramping after a meal. Maybe it's this incessant joint pain you can't seem to shake, or horrible sleep, or your confidence has been completely wrecked by a chronic skin condition such as eczema, psoriasis, or acne. Or maybe it's your mental health, these constant states of depression and anxiety holding you back from going after your dreams. Well, for just one moment, I want you to imagine. I want you to imagine waking up in the morning and feeling good, feeling refreshed, full of energy and crystal clear mental clarity. I want you to imagine being able to go after your fitness goals and accomplishing them with getting stronger and more flexible with every passing day. I want you to imagine being able to eat a meal and feeling good after, feeling energized and light on your feet with smooth, easy digestion and clean, healthy bowel movements and a flat stomach. I want you to imagine being able to walk into a room with clear, radiant skin, embodying what it means to be confident. I want you to imagine having boundless motivation and joy to take on the day ahead and accomplish your dreams. Well, I'm here to let you know that this is absolutely possible. But first, we've got to talk about the problem. So, within the last 100 years, there have been 80,000 different toxic chemicals that have been introduced to the human population and our environment. And these toxins have never been tested for human health. And they're found in our food, our water, our air. They're in our hygiene products and cleaning supplies. They're in the clothing, furniture, candles, and air fresheners that we're using in our home. And of course, the drugs and medications that we're using to suppress the very symptoms that are caused by these toxins in the first place. So when I'm talking about food, I'm just talking about getting back to eating real food rather than the fake processed foods that make up about 80% of the products in our modern day grocery store. We've got to get back to showering in clean water and drinking clean water that is free from fluoride, chlorine, heavy metals, and pharmaceutical drugs. We've got to get back to using hygiene products and cleaning supplies that are derived from natural ingredients rather than ingredients such as parabens, phthalates, and sodium lauryl sulfate, all these endocrine disruptors and carcinogens. We've got to get back to using clothing and furniture that is derived from natural fabrics that aren't off-gassing flame retardants, or any of these harsh chemicals from the manufacturing process. We've got to get back to using candles and air fresheners that aren't using fragrance. In fact, fragrance is an umbrella term for 3,000 different endocrine disrupting chemicals that are the root cause for male and female hormonal imbalances in our modern world. Not to mention the drugs and medications that we're using are derived from petroleum, full of heavy metals, and work against the body's natural processes to suppress symptoms. So day in and day out, we are accumulating more toxins than the body can actually get rid of, and that is the root cause of what we call chronic dis-ease. So the question is, what is the solution? And I have a 5-step solution for you. And number 1 is nutrition. We've got to get back to eating real, organic fruits and vegetables that aren't genetically modified or sprayed with fungicides, insecticides, or pesticides. We've got to get back to eating high-quality animal proteins that are derived from animals that live their real animal lives and eat their species-specific diet. You see, the problem in our modern industrial practices is we are raising animals that are full of sickness and disease, and then we are eating that sickness and disease. So in general, we want to shorten the distance from farm to plate so we know exactly what we're getting when we purchase these single ingredient foods. Number two is detoxification, and I hear it all the time. The body's designed to clean itself. And this is absolutely true, no doubt about it. However, the body was not designed to come in contact with the amount of toxins that are being accumulated in our modern world. So the body absolutely requires some time and assistance to open up those detox pathways and assist it in the purging process. Number three is reconnecting with nature. As a human species, we are severely suffering from a nature deficiency. We like to think ourselves as being separate from nature, but we are a part of nature. We are designed to be connected with the four elements, which is earth, wind, water, and fire. Number four is movement. When we move our body, it moves the lymph. Our heart is designed to move the blood, but it is only our movement that moves the cellular waste within the body. When we move, we sweat. And when we sweat, we remove the toxins through our largest elimination organ, which is the skin. In fact, now they're saying that sitting is the new smoking. So living a sedentary lifestyle is one of the worst things that you can do for your health. And last but not least is your mindset. So remember that the body follows the mind. So your external experience is a reflection of your internal experience. So if you buy into this idea that you are a victim of sickness and disease rather than the creator of it, then you will not be able to get well. So one of the most important things is to change the way that you think, accept radical responsibility for your situation, and understand that you can absolutely take the proper steps to heal yourself. But it all starts with the way that you think. Before we can start this detox process, we've got to understand the detox pathways. And there are 6 elimination channels within the human body. The first one is the colon, and this is our primary elimination channel. So anything that we consume goes through the digestive process, and anything that cannot be utilized will be moved into the large intestine where all of the water and moisture is absorbed. Then whatever could not be utilized is going to be moved out of the colon. And then we have the liver, which does our living. This is because not only does it filter the blood, but it is a chemical manufacturing plant. So it'll take primary nutrients and use them to make secondary nutrients. It's also responsible for recycling old hormones. And then we have the kidneys, whose role it is to filter the blood and remove water-soluble toxins. And it's also going to remove any excess nutrients, hormones, or neurotransmitters that the body cannot store or utilize. And then we have the skin, which is the largest elimination organ in the human body. And it is actually where the body will push toxins and lymph out through the skin that it cannot get rid of. And it's primarily through our sweat, but it can also be through rashes or acne or any of these other kinds of skin conditions. And then we have the lungs, which we actually detoxify 70% of toxins through the breath. And this is why breath work is so crucial for the healing process, because not only do we absorb an excess of our primary nutrient, which is oxygen, but we can detoxify an excess amount of toxins by using these breath work practices. And then last but certainly not least is the lymphatic system. And the lymphatic system is so important to understand for human health. It is the sewage system of the body. It is the cellular waste removal system. So whenever we end up with a congested lymphatic system, that's when we end up with overtoxicity in the body and leads to states of chronic illness. All right, so the famous Greek philosopher Hippocrates once said that all disease begins in the gut. And then we have the Russian biologist Eli Mechnikov, who stated that all death begins in the colon. In fact, he won the Nobel Prize for that information. So if all disease begins in the gut, that means that healing any type of disease begins with healing the digestive system. Now, that digestive process starts the moment we put something into our mouth. We start to chew it, we get all the saliva that helps to break it down, and it triggers these chemical messengers within the body to prepare the pancreas and the stomach for the food that's coming. So it'll then travel down the esophagus into the stomach, where it's going to be further emulsified and broken down with the hydrochloric acid. It'll then move into the duodenum, which is where the stomach, the pancreas, the small intestine, and the gallbladder all meet. And that pancreas is going to release enzymes designed to break down specific nutrients such as proteins, fats, or carbohydrates. And the gallbladder is going to release bile to help break down and emulsify the fats. It'll then move into the small intestine that's filled with all these little villi. And these villi are going to absorb the nutrients into the bloodstream to distribute them to all the cells of the body. Now, whatever cannot be utilized is going to be moved into the colon to be dehydrated and then out of the body through the colon. Now, it's important to understand that every single cell is an individual, conscious, living entity that eats, creates waste, and breathes just like we do. So as they feed on these nutrients, they are going to create waste, which is moved through the interstitium into the lymphatic system to be drained through the kidneys and the skin. Now, what's happening in our modern world is we are living off of all these fake processed foods and coming in contact with so many toxins that we are getting backed up in the digestive system. We have all this undigested waste that's putrefying, and these toxins are being reabsorbed into the bloodstream. So this causes congestion of the colon and eventually the small intestine. And when the small intestine is congested, we're not able to absorb nutrients from our food properly. And then that leads to congestion of the liver and the gallbladder because of this excess amount of toxins that are constantly being reabsorbed, and then the bile created by the liver to be dumped by the gallbladder is this thick toxic sludge or filled with all of these stones, and that leads to all these other hormonal imbalances and endocrine disruptions within the body. Now, when our physical body, the mouth to anus, our large macrotubing system is congested, eventually that's going to lead to congestion of the microtubing system. And you can just consider that to be the 100 trillion cells that make up all of the body and the two fluids, which are blood and lymph. So if our cellular waste removal system is so congested with toxins, it's not moving properly, then you can think about it as that sewage system starting to back up into our kitchen, which is our bloodstream. Now, if the cells cannot properly get their waste out, then they end up being constipated. So they're sitting in their own waste. So then they cannot absorb nutrients properly, they can't get rid of toxins, and then we end up with deep cellular dis-ease because of the overaccumulation of toxins. Now, this is where the parasites and the microorganisms come into the picture. So their role within the human body is they are the cleanup crew. They are taking out the trash. Their role is to feed on all the excess toxins and filth in the human body or the damaged tissues. So a lot of times in the holistic health world, you hear that these parasites and microorganisms are the root cause of all these different illnesses, but they are just another symptom of the root cause being toxicity. So I want you to think about it like this. If you're walking through a forest and you come across a dead deer, that deer is going to be filled with all types of fungus and bacteria, maggots, worms, and parasites. The question is, did they kill the deer? And of course, the answer is no. They're just there cleaning up the mess. So if you want to know the truth about human health, all we have to do is look at nature. So every human body is an individual ecosystem that resides within perpetual balance with all of these other living organisms. Now, when we become out of balance because of all the fake processed foods and the accumulation of toxins and emotions, then we get an imbalance of these parasites and microorganisms that are there to clean up the mess. Now, as they clean up that mess, their digestive process eliminates gases that are toxic to us and lead to all types of undesirable symptoms. But that doesn't mean that they're the root cause. They are just another symptom of that root cause being toxicity. So just like how if we leave a house full of trash, it actually attracts all of these critters to clean up that mess, the same thing is happening inside of the human body. So real quick, I want to address some limiting beliefs. So oftentimes in our modern Western world, we've been conditioned to believe that we are just the victims of sickness and disease, and there's nothing that we can do about it rather than taking toxic drugs or having some type of invasive surgeries. So for one, I want you to know that the body is actually designed to heal. It can absolutely heal if it's given all of the proper nutrients and if it is properly cleansed. Two, oftentimes I hear that there's just not enough money to make these kinds of changes and implement these healthy lifestyle choices. However, what I want you to understand that wealth is a byproduct of health. So the healthier you become, the more money that you can make because you have the energy, the clarity, and the creativity to do so. The other aspect for the finances is that yes, it seems like to live a healthy lifestyle costs all this money. And in a lot of ways, to be healthier does cost more money. However, if you start to remove all the money that you spend on coffees and fast foods and entertainment, all these things that are damaging to you, then you can actually start to utilize those funds for things that are healthy for you and are going to help you heal. The third one is time management. I know that today's world is so busy, and so it's hard to make the time necessary to take care of yourself and heal yourself. But I want you to know the healthier you become, the easier it will be to manage that time because you're going to have the energy and mental clarity to do what needs to be done. It's also about oversimplifying your life. If you can get back to living in our most natural state, then you will actually save time. Fasting saves time. Eating less meals every single day saves time. Not making these huge, extravagant meals will save time. It's all about implementing simplicity and getting back to our most natural state of being. My goal is to walk you through the process of purifying your body so that you can detox your way back to wellness. Now, I got into this line of work because I myself struggled with chronic illness for over a decade. In fact, most of my symptoms actually started when I was still just a child. I had horrible gut issues, which turned into hypothyroidism, gallbladder disease, liver disease. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia because of this chronic pain that I've been dealing with for so long. I was depressed, I was anxious, and I was chronically sick, addicted to drugs and alcohol to numb all of the pain that I was dealing with. So I am here to tell you that there's absolutely a solution. And once I discovered nutrition and the art of detoxification, I was finally able to get well and stay well. So within my program, there's 4 different stages. And that first stage is healing and purifying the gut. Leaky gut is one of the primary causes of all of these chronic diseases and autoimmune conditions that people are dealing with. So first, we're going to cleanse the colon, and then we are going to cleanse the small intestine so you can properly release what does not serve the body, and you can absorb the nutrients from your food. Then we're going to go after the liver and gallbladder. Like I said, the liver is so important. So it's essential that we purify the liver and the gallbladder of stones and all of this acidic, disgusting bile that is making you sick. Then we're going to move forward towards getting rid of all the excess parasites and microorganisms. We're going to balance the gut microbiome so that your body can get back to a state of homeostasis. These parasites and microorganisms are not the root cause, but they are most certainly adding to the list of symptoms that are holding you back. Then we're going to go after all the chemicals and heavy metal chelation. And so once we've gotten your body strong through the initial detox process, your body's going to be able to handle all this heavy metal chelation. So as you can see from my after photo, now I am healthy, I am thriving, and I am living a life full of purpose. In fact, me and my wife and my soon-to-be child are living a life of adventure and going after the things that we want in life. It is purely beautiful, and I'm so excited to get you to that same place. So, I'm going to provide you with support every step of the way. All right, so my program includes one-on-one coaching every single week. We create you an individualized diet protocol because everybody is different and has different needs depending on their condition. We do individualized supplements and individualized detox protocols, so it's all specifically designed for you in mind. On top of that, we're going to offer you community access of other individuals that are in the same process, on the same journey of purifying their body and becoming the best versions of themselves. I also supply a low-tox resource guide with everything that you'll need for this process so that you can get all of the tools and products that you need. I'm going to supply you with a detox how-to guide that has step-by-step instructions of how to complete every detox protocol that I'm going to walk you through, and of course a fasting guide. So from my perspective, metabolic flexibility is a core foundation for human health, and so we're going to help you build up that metabolic flexibility. All right, so before we move forward, I want to share with you some success stories so that you know exactly what is possible when you commit yourself to this process. So this is Griffin. And when I met him, he had not had a solid bowel movement in over 6 years. He constantly dealt with gas, bloating, cramping, and indigestion after meals. He had low energy, fatigue, and a constant state of depression and anxiety that was holding him back from going after his dreams. As you can see, just after a few months, not only did he shed all this excess weight and get into the best shape of his life, but he has bulletproof digestion, he has energy and mental clarity, and he is going after his goals with a fearlessness that I love to see. He is absolutely crushing it. And this is Hannah. And when I met Hannah, she had all this weight gain, these hormonal imbalances. She was dealing with endometriosis, not to mention her digestion was completely wrecked. But she started to put into practice everything that I taught her during our program. And not only did she lose over 50 pounds, but she was able to get rid of all of her symptoms from the endometriosis. She's on the path to balancing hormones. She's cleared her skin. And she is another beautiful example of what is possible when you commit yourself to this process. It has been an honor to watch her grow and become the woman that she is today. It is so awesome. And here are a few other success stories that I have. You can pause the screen and read these. Here's another page of them. And if you want more, I actually have a ton of these success stories on my website, refreshedhealing.com. So I encourage you to go take a look at that and see what I have to offer, because all of these people are having the success that you can also have if you are willing to commit yourself to this process. So like I said, I'm absolutely positive that you can achieve the same level of results, but I also understand that this program is not for everybody. In fact, we are specifically looking for individuals who are ready to take action towards their health and their well-being. And whether you've been battling these chronic symptoms for years or you're just beginning to feel the effects of a toxic lifestyle, you've got to commit to the process of making radical changes in your life. So I'm looking for people who are ready to take personal responsibility for their health. It's important that we can come to a place of understanding that if we are the creators of our states of disease, then that means that we are also the solution. But it all starts with taking radical responsibility. I'm also looking for people who are open-minded, who are willing to have their perspectives challenged so that you can get over these negative thinking patterns and belief systems so that you can heal yourself and go after your goals. I'm also looking for people who are action-oriented, who are ready to take drastic steps to changing their diet and their lifestyle to really understand what it's like to live a life of health and longevity. And of course, be ready and prepared to learn. I'm going to fire hose you with information necessary so that you can take that radical responsibility, heal your body, and achieve everything that you're destined to achieve here on this earth. So if you are ready to get well and align with your purpose, I want you to click the button that says book now and book your free consult with me so that we can create you an individualized plan to not only heal yourself, but align with your purpose. I want you to understand that space is limited. I can only see so many clients, so do not wait to take the first steps to creating your new life and a healthier, happier you. So I just want to thank you for watching this presentation. And if you have any other questions or want more information, you can contact me through my website, refreshedhealing.com, and I would love to hear from you. Thank you.